Texas at Alabama, 7 Eastern on ESPN. College Game Day is going to be there. It'll be a county fair, a zoo, a circus, whatever kind of event you want to put to it. Very excited to let y'all know we will actually be at this game. So the hard count, I told y'all back in the spring, I believe it was, we're going to be on the road this coming season. This is the first game we're going to. Went to Michigan last year, or I guess went to Michigan, Ohio State in Columbus last year. Went to the national title game. Those were phenomenal. Cannot wait to see y'all in Tuscaloosa. Have a lot of y'all that watch the show that are Alabama fans, a lot of y'all that watch the show that are Texas fans. So fired up to be with y'all and among y'all there at this game. This is going to be a movie. Like we've talked about this game really since 000s hit the clock in Austin last year. No shortage of storylines, man. For Alabama, the feeling is like, hey, man, they wrote us off. They wrote us off, but we did not write back. That's kind of how they feel, right? I mean, that's the feeling in Tuscaloosa is, yes, there's all this talk around Nick Saban, around the quarterback room and the unproven production. Like, they're fine with that. They're fine with that. We're just going to go out there and play football. We'll see what happens on Saturday night. That's how they feel. This would be a statement for them to sort of let everybody know, like, hey, yeah, we heard all the talking. We heard what y'all think we weren't going to do. Look at us now. And I don't want to make it sound like there's just nobody believing in Alabama because you looked at College Game Day in week 0 and have the whole desk picking Alabama to win the national title. But there is still a fair amount of doubt surrounding this Crimson Tide football team. And this would be a great opportunity for them to kind of remove that a little bit. Now for Texas, the entire time Steve Sarkisian has been the head coach at Texas has led to a day like this, has led to a game like this. Year 1, you went through the growing pains. Miss a bowl game. All the talk around Texas and the culture. It's like a mass exodus through the portal. Year 2, you win 8 football games. Hey, that's a step in the right direction. Still not up to our standard here. This is the year now. With all the weapons on the outside, with Quinn Ewers back for another go-around, with the continuity you have on this football team, this is the year where you really make some noise. You want to make some noise? Want to make a statement? You go beat the greatest of all time at their house. That would be a statement. So I can't wait to be there for this game. I can't wait to break this one down. Really quickly, though, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football every single day. The hard count is live. 1, 2, 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Would love to have y'all here. It's college football and nothing else. That's what we're about here. So thank you for being locked in with us. We appreciate y'all in advance. All right, let's get to it, man. Was last year's Texas edge, is that still available in this game? Because we watched this game last year and we saw Xavier Worthy do whatever he wanted with Quinn Ewers in that first half. Quinn Ewers is looking like everything that we expected him to be when he was a recruit coming out of high school. Now, he left a year early, so it is what it is, but he has so much talent, and there was so much poise in that game, in that spot, but you were in Austin. You go down to Tuscaloosa, like, what does that look like? Because Texas winning this game likely revolves around that same thought process that we had in the first quarter of that game, and was, hey, those receivers for Texas, they can't be stopped. Xavier Worthy is having a day. Jatavian Sanders is drawing a pass interference penalty all the time. I understand he's a tight end, but you heard what I'm saying. Now, Adonai Mitchell, new piece to the operation. Isaiah Nayor wasn't healthy in this game last year. What does the receiving core look like? Is the receiving core the edge against this Alabama secondary? Because if it is, then we get to finish last year's game. Then we kind of rewind the tape. Now, no Bryce Young for Alabama, I understand that. But we get to kind of pick it up. And there was so much thought last year of, well, if Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt in that game, then Texas fill in the blank. A lot of people in Austin would say, then Texas wins that football game. If this edge is still there for Texas, if the wide receiver room is still going to do what they did in the first quarter of last year's game, things get very interesting in a hurry. Now, I also think that Alabama has heard all of this talk around the secondary and around the receiving core for Texas, and they've had this one circled for a little bit. So if there's a game this secondary is going to get up for, expect it to be this one. But let's go ahead and say this. Let's say that that's not the edge. Let's say that Texas doesn't have the aerial attack that they had in the first quarter of that game, and Texas and Alabama kind of a stalemate there. Well, then I think we actually learn a little bit more about both football teams. The reason why I say that is Texas, if they want to go be a college football playoff team, if they want to make some real noise on the national title race kind of deal, like you have to be able to win without your fastball. Make no mistake, their fastball is that vertical game. Forget the Rice game for a second. Look at who they have on that step chart. Look at who's playing quarterback for them. They want to push the ball downfield. So to beat Alabama without that would say a lot about Texas. Now, for Alabama, if they're able to kind of keep a lid on that vertical attack, well, that's just step one of the process. That's just step one of their new philosophy in Tuscaloosa, which is play great defense. Second part of that equation is play just bone-crunching kind of running game football with Tommy Rees as your OC. It's Nick Saban influenced Tommy Rees offensive approach right now, but you hear the sentiment I'm saying. They want to be able to take the air out of the football, shove it down your throat, 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, and then by the fourth quarter, that 5-yard gain turns into a 12-yard gain. And then they pop one for a touchdown, and that's kind of the way that they want to live. They want to be similar to how Michigan was last year, where they lean on you, and in the fourth quarter, to put it how J.J. McCarthy put it after Ohio State, the pipes burst. So can they do that? This will be a great test. But understand, if Texas can just throw the ball around the yard like they did last year in that first quarter with Quinn Ewers, well, then Alabama has to answer scores. Well, then Alabama starts to have to get into more of a track meet mode. So then it becomes a matter of what happens with Jalen Milroe. We talked about with Nick Saban and what he said about, Middle Tennessee, and it's not going to be decided in that game. Well, I mean, if we're all just looking at this game and looking at how it went with how much they didn't rotate quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe is the guy for them. And so the challenge for Texas becomes what happens on first and second down. No disrespect to Jalen Milroe, but Texas wants to find out if he can throw the football consistently against them. The only way you get to find out about that is you have something solid to put forth in first and second down and put him into 3rd and 7. Can you get to 3rd and 7? That's really the question I'm asking for Texas. Because if they can, and Jalen Milroe beats him with the arm, you say, all right, man, hey, that's checkmate. We did not think that was going to be the way that you could get that done. To quote Shaquille O'Neal, I was not familiar with your game. I apologize. Like that would be the situation that Texas would find themselves in. But they want to find out. I'll say that much. They want to find out. Now, when it comes to the subplot within that, Jalen Milroe is playing quarterback for Alabama for a reason. And obviously he's been consistent enough through camp, and he's done enough throwing the ball downfield and all that. I mean, he looked awesome against Middle Tennessee, hit 3 deep shots that were big time. But the subplot within that, like I talked about a little bit, his legs make him arguably the best athlete on the field, and he's playing quarterback for you. So the challenge then becomes when you do get him to 3rd and 7, when it does become a matter of, okay, Jalen Milroe, you're going to have to throw the football to beat us. Can you make enough plays when it's a broken play, right? Like that's the question. Can you stop Jalen Milroe when you have everybody covered, got the perfect coverage set up, and he says, you know what? I'm a really good athlete. You've all seen that video of me hang cleaning like 335 as a quarterback, which is stupid, by the way. I think I'm going to go get this 7 yards myself. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to get down right now. Like you can drop the perfect coverage, but if he breaks that game plan with his legs, then it's all for naught that you got him to 3rd and 7. So that's a huge subplot within this game is Texas avoiding these, well, we had him in 3rd and 7, but, and then you tell a story about how Jalen Milroe took off and got 8 yards on 3rd and 7. Now, if you can force him to throw the football, that's how you want to live it for Texas. And you'll find out what happens there. So composure here in this spot, I think is going to be the difference maker for both teams. Alabama's no stranger to it. Texas, honestly, is no stranger to it either. But the expectations around Texas and the merit behind those expectations is just a little bit different. And so there's the spot in general with it being college game day and being, the game of the week and anybody and everybody, yours truly included, being there. Who can handle the spot, but also who can handle these momentum swings? Because we've seen that now early in the season in a couple of these games. Florida State is a great example against LSU. LSU throws a couple haymakers early. I mean, first play of the game, they got down, I think, inside the 20. Florida State collects themselves. They're down at half. No problem. Reset. Go win the football game. There's going to be momentum swings each way. I fully expect this to be an absolute street fight. Who's able to handle when things don't go their way and bounce back and collect themselves and not get overwhelmed by the negative thing that just happened. Colorado, another great example. TCU and them going back and forth. Colorado just responded, ended up winning the football game. So we'll get a chance to really test the championship medal, if you will, of both these operations. Now, it is very difficult to imagine a world where Alabama turns the football over multiple times and wins this football game. Like, that's also a part of the composure piece. Like, you don't want to give Quinn Ewers and company extra shots at the end zone. Just not a way to live. And now for Texas, same thing. This is what Alabama feeds on. They will prey on your mistakes. That is how they want to live in Tuscaloosa. So the margin for error for either side here is extremely, extremely low. So the composure as it pertains to you making mistakes is going to be a big part of this. I think it's close. I think we look up at the final score at the end of the fourth quarter and leave not feeling a certain way about either team, like, man, I guess we were just wrong about Texas, or man, I guess we were just wrong about Alabama. I think we leave this game kind of similar to last year, in my opinion, where we're like, yeah, both those teams are going to, I mean, hey, good luck whoever else has to play them the rest of the way, man. I think we leave with that kind of feeling. I think Texas and Quinn Ewers have a good day throwing the football. I think Jalen Milroe actually has more in the tank than what we've seen so far. A lot of talk about him turning the football over and about what he did against Texas A&M. And like, I understand all that. I think we still haven't seen what he truly has. And so for that reason, on top of Alabama being at home, on top of all that's been said about Nick Saban, I'm taking Alabama to win a close one, man. Close one. Probably comes down to the very last possession. We take Bama to win this football game. Final score 36-32 in Tuscaloosa. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.